Hey, welcome back to a special Derby edition of the Friday show. I'm Ray Paulick, happy to be joined by Editor-in-Chief Natalie Voss and a special guest this week, Dr. Al Ruggles, an equine surgeon and partner at Rood & Riddle Equine Hospital in Lexington, Kentucky, and this year is serving as the on-call veterinarian for the American Association of Equine Practitioners on-call program, something that started 30 years ago. It's hard to believe, but it started in 1991. And Dr. Ruggles, first, could you just give us a little bit of background on what the on-call program is and what it's designed to do?
Sure, Ray, and thanks for having me, and hello, Natalie. The on-call program, as you said, started in 1991, and that was really a reaction to the tragic events at the Breeders' Cup in 1990 with Mr. Nickerson and of course, Go for Wand. So what became clear is that we needed a way to convey to the public what accurate information about what was happening, what had happened to the horses, what was going to be done, the next steps, things of that nature. And that really was the sort of the beginning of this program. And over time, it's been well received for doing exactly those things. Our goal is to provide accurate information as quick as possible, and in a way that the general public can understand it, and also to convey efforts being made for the horse's welfare.
Now, what does your typical week on Derby week look like in this role, Dr. Ruggles? Are you out there kind of assisting with any of the pre-race examinations, or are you just sort of there for the racing events in case you should be needed, like in an educational kind of role?
Yeah, the latter. All the medical aspects of it are done by the private veterinarians, and then of course the racing commission veterinarians, where in Kentucky in this case, or in the Breeders' Cup, wherever it happens to be. Our role is really not as functioning as a medical professional in the way I do every day in my job, but rather to be the liaison between those professionals. Specifically during the racing telecast, we get the information directly from the attending veterinarians, who are the racing commission veterinarians, or at the Breeders' Cup would be also the Breeders' Cup veterinarians. And then we convey it to the television talent, in hopefully a clear and concise and quick manner.
So in other words, no offense, but we really don't want to see you on TV this week.
Yeah, that's like my whole life. I work on someone's horse and they say, I hope I never see you again. And usually, hopefully in a good way, they say that. But yeah, that's exactly right. Now, there's other things we do there. When Bricks and Mortar raced in the Breeders' Cup last year, there was questions about his string halt surgery. So they did a little piece on that. And so I can explain, and those things come up as spur of the moment. You can explain what that means, or if a horse, like after Positive Spirit at the Oaks last year, broke through the gate quick and was caught by the outrider, and what did that really mean? And that goes to we go beyond the television. We do as well as handle the written the press as well. So we have to go back to that room later.
So even though you're not really involved in the pre-race stuff, could you just talk a little bit about some of the things that do go on behind the scenes as far as just making racing as safe as possible for a big event like the Derby, which is going to have millions of TV viewers? Yeah,
sure. This year there's been very complete out of competition testing for drugs. There's very, very strict rules on how the horses are handled when they're brought in, how they're monitored while they're in the stakes barn, who's allowed in, the logs. So there's a lot of scrutiny of the horses as far as just making sure everything is done well for integrity. And then obviously for health issues, there's examinations by the commission veterinarians. The horses are monitored when they're on the track for the training hours, and also private veterinarians are enlisted to say this horse has been, at least in Kentucky now, is safe to race as far as anyone's concerned. So there's lots done, and I think that can't be emphasized really, is how much people are efforting and have always efforted for horse welfare. And it's hard sometimes to get that message across. And I think this program helps do that.
So what is the kind of media training or preparation process like for you for those moments when you do have to go on camera and explain an injury or an issue in kind of a time limited sort of situation? Because of course you're dealing with a very different audience when you're talking to NBC viewers than, you know, racing media or like the clients that you're probably used to.
Sure. Yeah, no, we all go through, there's about 20 veterinarians on average that are part of this program each year. And most of us do it for a while. I think I think I've done it around 20 years. I'm not 100% sure, not the Derby 20 years, but different races. We do get media training. There's a firm, I don't know who's doing it now, but up in Chicago that we went to and they put you through, you know, crisis situations, things of that nature. We spend a lot of time, Sally Baker is the public relations director for the AAEP, and she does a wonderful job of getting people ready, the connections of to the different group, to the different personnel you need to be with. But really, we spend a lot of time trying to think about. I spend a lot of time thinking about different problems, like horses that bleed. So you know, we're all used to a horse that gets exercise-induced pulmonary hemorrhage, and we understand the syndrome and we understand the issues with Lasix. But the general public might be very upset if they saw blood coming out of a horse's nostril and not understand, thinking, was the horse abused? Was it hit? I mean, there could be any number of things, conclusions they could come to. So, like, those are the kind of things you kind of reserve or rehearse in your brain ahead of time. Is to sort of, how would you deal with that? Now, when an injury occurs, I've been to a lot of big races, and I got to tell you, I don't always see the finish because I'm looking at actions happening about the 16th pole or so. Usually, if we're going to have a problem, and so I'm looking back often. I'll sneak a peek at the finish, and I'll look back, and then during that time, if a horse happens to be injured, you know, I already process in my brain what I think has happened, right? But I'm not attending them, so I can't just say, oh, you know, Mongolian Groom or whomever has this injury. What I need to do is get the information, and we, through radio, from the Racing Commission veterinarians, and they tell me, you know, we're pretty clear about it. You know, it's the horse number 12, his name, her name, which limit is, what their general assessment is. You know, it's almost like a sideline reporter in some ways at a football game. You want to give the information, but you don't want to overstep what's told to you. I may have an opinion as what I think is going on, right? But I don't know that, and it's important that we say things we know. We can always add in the information later. So during that time, though, like I remember a race at Keeneland, and Janine was a reporter, and they were pushing her for information. I didn't have the information yet, and you know, sometimes you just got to say, hang on a second, you know, in a polite way, I'll get it for you, because it's really important to us that we say it accurately. And then also, you know, you have to remember there are people involved with the connections, and they may be listening, and maybe remotely, right? So you don't want to state something that's wrong, you know, and you want to not put any pressure on anyone else by doing that. So I don't know if that makes sense, but it goes quick. But the reporters are really attuned to it. They understand, like, the look on your face, that if you're still processing, and they don't. And there are, you know, this certainly on television, it's not adversarial in any way, right? They're not trying to trip you up. Now, when you go to the press tent, you may have some other questions. There may be some agenda that you don't know, and it's important to remember at that time that you stay on message. You stay what you know. You don't know. There's other, like, I don't comment about racing track conditions. We have a track superintendent and we have a director of communications at Churchill that should do that. I don't comment on medication rules. You know, the things that are, you may say something relatively generic to answer the question. We want to be careful that you don't overstep what you have direct knowledge about. I think that's a really important point, you know, so that's sort of what I try to remember.
No pressure or anything, right?
Well, pressure's relative, right?
Right.
So, yeah. So we all have pressure, but it's exhilarating. It's the kind of thing where you want, like, you love seeing a short field and you love seeing all the horses come back, right? But you realize that at a moment's notice, so you spend a lot of time, I don't know what your epinephrine levels go up and down during the day, because you spend a lot of time being prepared to do something. And fortunately, right, most of the time nothing untoward happens. But if it does, or weird things happen. One year, I remember at Keeneland, and a horse collapsed about let's say 300 yards beyond the finish line on the way back, right? And so I had to run out there, and Mike Pataglia was running out there, and it was pretty, interesting. The horse turned out to be fine, but maybe got a mild electrolyte abnormality. But my point is, different things happen. You have to be ready for almost anything.
You had mentioned that this program started the year after the tragic Breeders' Cup of 1990, when Gopher One lost her life, and there was 2 incidents in the sprint with a horse, I think, having a heart attack, another horse that tripped over and broke his neck, and we had 3 deaths. It's been 30 years. There's been so much more emphasis on safety in the last few years, especially. Do you feel that we're in a safer sport today than we were 30 years ago? And if so, what are some of the things that have led to that?
Yeah, I truly believe that. I think that people can argue one way or the other. When we look at the equine injury database, we know that the numbers are improving. And that was started in 2008 in July, after 8 Bells was injured in the Derby. So these tragic events are catalysts for change. The racetracks the surfaces are very, very meticulously analyzed, right? Will a perfect racetrack surface ever be developed? That remains to be seen, but certainly there's efforts towards that. The scrutiny of horses out of competition, with sampling, hair sampling for illicit drugs, things of that nature. Now, you look at every year, when we do the Breeders' Cup, you get the report that no horses tested positive, for very, very specific testing. In Kentucky last year, I think there was 1 positive per 770 starts or something of that nature. And none of the positives, there were overages of approved medications, right? That's a big thing I think people have to understand. If they have too much non-steroidal by a few picograms, was that a nefarious action, or was it, a mistake? Well, you're not going to probably give a drug that is easily tested, unless you're, I guess, a gambler. But I mean, my point is, I do think things are safer. I think the scrutiny of horses prior to racing is way different than it used to be. I remember as a groom at Belmont, the horse come out, and it was done well, but it was short staffed, and there was just a little bit of, I don't think it was as detailed as it is now. Looking at the number of starts, looking actually at the racing form, how many furlongs has a horse trained prior to racing? Why have they had a lot of time off? I think that there is tremendous scrutiny to try to find the holy grail to prevent all injuries. And how that is going to happen. Is it imaging? I don't know. Imaging has pros and cons. Or if every horse has a PET scan or a CT, are we going to then scratch horses that should be competing? How do we validate all these technologies is a big question. But to answer your question, I truly believe that, and I have faith just based on the people I'm around all the time. I mean, no one wants an injury.
Yeah.
Owners don't, the trainers don't, you don't, I don't, betting public doesn't. So I think we're all working on pulling on the same rope.
Well, it's good to know that so much is being done, and again, no offense, but we hope we hope we don't see you after the race on Friday or Saturday, and we look forward to safe racing at Churchill Downs for both goats in the Derby.
Me too.
Before we let you go, Dr. Ruggles, are you allowed to tell us who your Derby pick is? You've got a little bit of insider observation possibly that other people don't, and so who do you like this year?
Well, I can tell you that I'm not I win more money playing golf for $2 Nassau's than I do at the racetrack. Right? So Ray will know what that means. It's not a lot. When I was a groom and I worked at Belmont, I was a lot better a handicapper. I spent a lot more time doing it. I got to tell you, when at the Bluegrass, I was so impressed with the Essential Quality. I mean, it's easy to pick a favorite, but and I was very impressed with the race that Chad Brown's horse, highly motivated race. He kind of went out into a different. They took him a different way. They got him on the lead based on the field. So those would be two. There's, but the Derby, right? It's the trip. It's all kinds of things that can happen. It's a unique experience for the horses. It's a different distance. I liked how Essential Quality, closed. He's got a pretty hot trainer. So if I had a bet, that's where I'd go. So how about you guys?
Our next segment's going to have a little handicapping, but I will say this. I agree with one of your two picks.
Okay, there you go.
And not the favorite.
No, I probably agree with the other one.
Oh, there you go. Well, you know what? We can do an exacta then. It'd be perfect.
All right, Dr. Ruggles, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We know you're busy, and good luck on the telecasts on Friday and Saturday, and let's have some great safe racing too.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks a lot. Thanks,
okay, see you later.
Hey gang, it's Bloodstock editor Joe Nevills here with your toast to Vino Rosso. This time around, we're looking at a filly out of the Grade 2 place Uncle Mo mare Shaken. This filly was born on February 7th, bred in Kentucky by Mark Stansell and boarded at Wagoner Farm in Lexington. I gave Mark a call and he said the filly just gets better every day. The decision to send his mare to Vino Rosso was pretty simple. He made himself on the track and Mark expected the ensuing foal to be sought after at auction. If they can sell well and run fast, that's the target we're all trying to hit. And that's our toast to Vino Rosso.
All right, I'm joined now by Bloodstock editor Joe Nevills and news editor Chelsea Hackbarth. And I know the world has been dying to know, who do we like in the Kentucky Derby? I'll start. We could actually make this very simple. We all like Essential Quality win, right?
Yeah, exactly. Lock it in. Done.
So Essential Quality, unbeaten, comes into the Derby, off a nice win in the Bluegrass. But I'm going to pick the horse that he just beat in the Bluegrass, highly motivated. That was his first time around 2 turns. I don't really think he wanted to be on the lead, but he took the lead. It was a paceless race, and he got run down very, very late in deep stretch by Essential Quality. I think he's going to be better this time around. I believe in a little bit of karma, not a whole lot, but Javier Castellano, if there's any jockey that deserves a Derby, it's him. He's 0 for 14 in the Derby. He's due. Chad Brown, I'm not sure he's due. He hasn't been around that long like Javier, but we all know Chad Brown can train turf and dirt horses. I think highly motivated is prime for a big effort. Joe, who do you have?
Well, I'm not going to reveal too awful much because I have a haiku handicapper segment coming out later today that I need to, make sure I save a little juice for here. But I'll give you the winner. I'll give you that one for free. I'm picking Essential Quality. Occam's razor here. He's the best horse. Once he got a good draw, listen, it doesn't matter who you pick if they don't win, okay? I see Essential Quality as your winner, and I don't really feel good about anyone for second or third necessarily, but I can tell you that Known Agenda is going to run fourth. He's a good enough horse. I had him as a win candidate before that rail draw, but I still think he's good enough with the rail draw to overcome the traffic, get through there and run a good fourth, set him up for the rest of the Triple Crown season where hopefully he gets a better draw and runs better. But Essential Quality first, Known Agenda fourth. What else you got?
Before Chelsea gives her pick, Joe, have you ever looked at Todd Pletcher's record in the Preakness for horses that didn't win the Derby?
Inform me, Ray. Educate me.
It doesn't exist. if he runs in the Derby and doesn't win, he doesn't run in the Preakness. So it's going to be from the Derby to the Belmont for any horse of Pletcher's that doesn't win. I mean, I almost guarantee you that.
Yeah, maybe save some of that energy for the Travers.
Well, that's very, very possible.
Long game, Ray. Long game.
Chelsea, just be nice to Joe and me, okay? Who do you like?
Well, has the Ver due angle ever worked out for you, Ray? I'm just curious.
Has the what angle worked?
The he's due for a win in the Derby. Has that ever worked for you before? I'm just statistically.
Yeah, in the late 80s.
Well.
All you need is one.
I actually don't care for highly motivated on track. He's big, he's bulky, he's got a little bit of a shorter stride than a lot of the other kids out there. I think he looks more like a miler, a really fast miler, but a miler nonetheless. Essential quality, you really can't knock him, Joe, but at the same time, it's the Derby.
Exactly, and favorites win the Derby.
I'm just not. So I really liked Rock Your World, his win in the Santa Anita Derby, but after seeing everybody on track, I'm going to actually go with Hot Rod Charlie on top.
Wow.
He is an incredible mover. I wish he was a little bit bigger, but I mean, the timing's right. Everything's going well. It's O'Neill. He knows how to get a horse there. The connections are fun. The people are great. It's a story I can actually feel good about rooting for, rather than some of the others we've named. So that's my topic.
I want to like Hot Rod Charlie more than I do. Like, all of the pieces are there for a horse that should make noise in the Derby. I'm just not sure how much I trust a Louisiana Derby horse to come in and win this race. I feel like it's been a while since we've had one really make noise. I think Country House might have come off the Louisiana Derby and won, but that's a little gray area whether we're going to count that one or not. But beyond that, I feel like it's been a while since the Louisiana Derby winners really made an impact in the Kentucky Derby.
Well, you could say the same thing of the Wood and the Bluegrass. So if it comes down to it, it's either the Santa Anita Derby, the Arkansas Derby, or the Florida Derby that's supplied the most winners in the last couple of decades, I think. And I mean, the Bluegrass and the Wood are really dead races as far as providing Kentucky Derby winners. That's the test here. I picked the runner-up in the race, so we'll have to see. Any long shots?
Soup and sandwich for me.
Okay.
Lightly raced, but the way he gallops kind of like AP Indy with his head down real low. Maybe that's more of a Belmont pick for me then, but definitely a threat to hit the board underneath.
I'm going to have my eye on King Fury here. Now, a horse hasn't won the Lexington and gone on to win the Derby itself since, I believe, Charismatic in 1999. But this horse is coming on at the right time. We know Kenny McPeak knows how to win a big race. And a son of Curlin.
All you need is one.
Exactly. And, Curlin is a classic sire, one of the most proven classic sires of the past decade. The Dam Terrace was an excellent mare herself. There are a lot of good pieces there. I'm not sure if he's good enough to get it done on the big day, but if he does, it's going to pay very well.
Well, and Tyson Fury's coming to the Derby to meet Kenny McPeak and his namesake. So, I mean, what better story could you have than that?
I thought I saw on social media he said he's going to walk him to the track, which I don't know if that means he's going to be part of the walkover.
I don't think that's a thing.
Let him do it. It'll be so hype.
No. It seems like a terrible idea.
Everything about the Derby walkover is a terrible idea, okay? Just let him do it. Get the media attention. It'll be good for everyone.
All right. Well, we're going to check back in a week. And see how we all did. But that's going to do it for this edition of the Friday Show. Thanks to Dr. Al Ruggles of Root and Riddle, the on-call veterinarian for the AAEP at this year's Derby, to Natalie Voss for her insights into that program, and to you guys for picking the losers. We'll see you next week.
Back at you, Ray.